Welcome back to Prison Architect, everybody. I hope you're having a good one because I am excited to be back. I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen today, I've got to be honest with you, because today is the day that I'm thinking we're going to fill this entire prison. Which means it's also the day when we're going to go ahead and start tearing apart a lot of the old prison. In fact, I've already started doing this. I've given my workers an order to go in and start dismantling just about everything. All of the rooms are gone that the prisoners could possibly go to, and by taking all of the items out of here, we should see the prisoners have essentially no interest in coming over here for anything other than parole or for visitation. So that's good. It means that all of my prisoners will stay in the prison, which is ideal. And it also means that all of my guards will stay in the new prison because I did have a bunch of guards assigned to the old prison still, which is part of the reason that the new prison was ever so slightly falling apart. Although you didn't see too much of that because it was between episodes it was falling apart and I was, pulling my hair out trying to figure out what was going on. It was two things. It was the first thing, which was the guards all being assigned to the old prison, and thing number two was that the yard that we had, the giant yard, was in fact not a yard. It had to be enclosed a little bit more, so I basically just built this, which is now one yard, and this down here is another yard, and I'm hoping it will do the job. I'm hoping it's going to be good enough. If it isn't, we'll build more of them, and I guess let's go ahead and speed things up and see how dismantling all of this happens to go. It's going to be a lot of things that I get to sell, which I'm kind of looking forward to. I should probably also mention that I have a lot of my workers going and chopping down some trees so I can get some extra money, which is obviously something I'm interested in. I think a little bit of extra money is always going to be good for the prison. I'm also keenly aware of the fact that a lot of things in here are going to be complaining about a lack of electricity because I'm pretty sure, well, actually, I'm not 100% sure why they're complaining about that. It's not like we don't have power in here. Oh no, apparently we don't. Apparently I have actually at some point completely disconnected that area from the power grid. So that's a thing. That's apparently a thing that I've done. I've completely disconnected this space as well. So I guess we should be dismantling a bunch of the utilities in there while we're at it. And I guess we can do that, can't we? We can go in and we can say, clear indoor area, or simply just bulldoze all of this. Essentially, everything up to there can just be torn apart. We don't need it anymore. And by that logic, that means that all of this can go away as well. That's an old cell block. It's not being used. And by that logic, all of this can go away as well. It's the old cell block. It's not being used. It's kind of crazy doing this. I don't remember if I've ever torn a prison apart in this game before. It's kind of nuts just seeing these lines be carved through the thing. It's actually really, really cool. I'm kind of wondering how long it's going to take as well, since they're tearing down some trees. They're just doing a lot right now. It's kind of crazy. I like it, though. And just like that, it's gone. We have none of the old prison left. We still have the admin stuff, the reception, the parole, and all of that, but there's most of it just gone in a pile. There's some flooring still laying around, had some right there, we got a little bit right there as well, but now we get to go in and start figuring out where everything else is going to go. And I'm going to be quite honest, I think we need to get rid of the staff canteen here as well. My staff aren't going to love this, but I think we kind of need to do it because I want to build a new admin space. I want to build a new reception area. And I also want to go and get some concrete tiles. And essentially, we're going to come all the way down here and we're going to fill all of that space in with a new path. I'm also going to say that we probably want to go ahead and get, let's see. I don't know if trees can grow on mud. I would be confident that they can't grow on gravel. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 2 strips of gravel on either side of this thing so that we have this giant path that just goes from the entrance to the prison, to the admin center, to whatever else is down here. And I think that'll be pretty good for us. We'll go ahead and prioritize sort of all of that as well, just to get it done as quickly as we possibly can. Also, let's just talk about how quick that shakedown went. 1,378 spaces searched in no time at all. And also, let's talk about how much money we got. $500,000 from the amount of stuff that we just sold back after bulldozing the old prison. Don't mind if I do. So what I'm going to try and do is create this giant corridor that prisoners have to go through to get to the actual prison space. This area down here is very much going to be some kind of administration center. So I'm going to do a little something like this. 24 by 46 is a decent little size for this space. And I'm going to say that, let's see, 1, 2 there, let's say here. So what would that be exactly? We want a room right here in the middle, essentially. This is going to be our reception. So if I just take those 2 out and those 2 out, yeah, that's all the same size. So that's going to be our reception. That's where people are going to come in and sort of get searched and all the things that we have to do there. And so what I'm going to do is right at the front of the building, I'm going to go ahead and just put a little extra sort of room thing. And that's going to serve as a little bit of additional security that should stop people from being able to easily get away. We can do some guard towers in there as well, but that is going to be the main entrance to our prison. That's the front doors right there. You come into reception, and then you have all of this space. And what I'm thinking we could do is potentially say that something like this is visitation. We have visitation right here, and I believe the way this works is that every single visitor booth is a 2x2. So we could potentially look at a similar system to what we already have. So if I was to say, give me a 2x2 right here and here and here, that's 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's 6 visitor booths. And if I go to the other side and I sort of do the same thing, what I'm wondering is, can I do this in such a way as to give the visitors a lot of space? Can I get one in the middle as well? I absolutely can. So that is 6. That is 6. So can I go one further and do this and this? And then what we could potentially do is get rid of the walls for a second. We'll go ahead and put the objects just here again. And essentially my thinking here is maybe the prisoners have this space. So if I actually go and extend this down by 1 further, and I take that top section off, we give the prisoners this space and this space. So we would do a wall here and a wall here. And this would be visitors, this would be visitors, and this would be visitors. So visitors cannot go that way. So essentially, we are letting prisoners into here and here. Visitors come in this way. And I guess the way this could work is we would have a door just here. Wait, that's not right at all. That is not right at all. We would have a door, I guess, right down there at the bottom. So here and here, with visitors coming in perhaps right there. So they sort of filter around and do their thing. I think that would work. I think that'll be okay, because what we can do as well is, you know, give this a nice sort of entrance way through this corridor. So that kind of works out for visitation. And then on the other side, I would do parole. So everything, you know, where we have guests coming in, they come in through reception. We have the parole guys come in through reception as well. We have the prisoners come down towards reception, but not through it to get into the parole area. That seems like a good way to do it. And then we just do admin stuff off to the side. We have the morgue down here, an infirmary up there. We can do staff rooms in here as well. I think that's kind of the way we should be doing this. So let's make sure this is 20 meters that way. And we'll make this room the same size as the visitation space, although the visitation space has got a bit of a corridor. So something like that. And I guess we figure out parole. Now, the parole rooms are, what is that, 8 by 8? They're 9 by 8. Okay, well, they don't need to be that big. The parole table is, what, 3 by 2 with a filing cabinet in the corner? So if we wanted to do parole slightly differently, we could do, I guess, this, potentially. I don't know how well that's necessarily going to work, but I guess we'll figure it out. So that, and that. And, well, it doesn't really matter now that I think about it. Because the table doesn't really separate anyone. It's just a table. So we just sort of need a bunch of offices, really. So if I do, you know, 3 by 2 there, or 2 by 3, whatever you want to call it, and we sort of spread them out like this, we can at least get 4 of these things in here. I can potentially get a few more. We're just not going to have even spacing on these. The rooms are going to be sort of different sizes, potentially. Unless I do this. I guess this is sort of a way we could do it. We could have corridors that kind of come down through, and then we have these guys all sort of split up a little bit. I don't love the rooms in the middle being smaller, but it would certainly work. And then I guess we could have prisoners sort of, I mean, it doesn't really matter where they go in, does it? So we just do doors, you know, here, and I guess there and there. We can do, I don't know here. Let's see, bottom, and top. So something like that, I guess. Just the doors kind of all over the place. A little bit weird, but it kind of works out. I actually want to put this one at the bottom as well, just because I can. I also realized what I've done there. That's a bit weird. Let's do a door here. So something like that, right? It lets people in, it lets the parole hearings happen. And if I really wanted to, I could actually, oh, what do you want? What do you mean a fire started? It would be as far away from literally everything else as possible, wouldn't it? It bloody would be. I need you guys to come in here as quickly as you can. I need you guys to really, really quickly cross the entire prison. There you go. That's about the worst place that could have happened. I'll be honest with you. I need some sprinklers. Definitely need some sprinklers. Get in there. There we go. All right, you can leave. Just, oh boy. That really couldn't have been worse. Really genuinely could not have been worse. Let's fix all of this, please. Let me get some brick walls just to put this all back together. And let me see, what am I looking at here? So we need some pipes. I guess the pipes can just sort of go straight through, right? We should be okay. Then in terms of power, this is all lost. How did this all lose power? Is it because one of the, oh, I don't know what's going on there. Let's connect all this and see if that fixes anything. And let's go ahead and do some checkered floors there just to patch all this up a little bit. And we'll see if that fixes our problems. Hopefully it does. So I think rather than wasting any time on, you know, micromanaging all of this, we've got a decent little layout for parole rooms. We've got all of this space. We have this as a reception. Let's just go ahead and build this thing. And this, I think, is going to be a big brick building. I'm not going to go too crazy with different materials and all of this. So this thing is just going to be built out of brick. We're going to go ahead and throw a couple of little brick bits just there and there to make it kind of fancy. And what we'll do is also go to the perimeter wall, and we're going to build it the entire way down here. And we're going to build it the entire way down here as well. So we're going to have that space be relatively secure relatively quickly. Hopefully. I'm also thinking it's probably not going to take forever to build because we do have so many workers. And while that's going on, I guess the next thing we want to do is figure out a bunch of staff space. So my thinking here is I kind of want to go ahead and build a couple of staff rooms. So what I'll do is start at that corner, and I'm just going to go for something that's 24 by 12. And I'm going to do the same thing up here, 24 by 12. That's enormous, but we do have a lot of staff. We have a ridiculous number of guards now. I think we have, yeah, 150 of them. So probably for the best that we have these giant staff rooms. We also need staff canteens as well, but I think before I get too carried away on that, I'm actually going to go ahead and just extend this by a little bit so we can have some sort of, detail on the building there. I think that'll be kind of neat. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing down here with a little bit of an extension, and that gives us a little bit of detail for this giant staff room. And then I think next to the staff room, I'm going to build a staff canteen and a staff kitchen. So 24 by 12. We'll go up to this top end and we'll do the same thing again. So 24 by 12. And at the bottom end, we'll go for a little 6 by 12 thing. And that's kind of where I think the kitchen can be. Doesn't need to be too crazy. Works out kind of nicely like that. And this will be a corridor that just continues the entire way down the side of the building. So that gives us staff rooms, staff kitchens, staff canteens, and I think at this point that sort of just leaves us with things like offices and classrooms and, staff bathrooms as well, which is not too bad. Obviously, I mean, the morgue is a must-have. We do have 2 infirmaries at the minute. We don't have any morgues. We'll have to get that. So we'll have to move power into this space as well. So I think what I'm going to do is come to this corner, and I'm going to go 35 by, actually, you know what, 42 by 4. Yeah, we'll go 42 by 4. We'll do the same at this end as well. So what is it, 42 by 4. And then we'll put some buildings or rooms on the back here. So we'll just do, let's say 10 by 42 is probably big enough. And that gives us this building that just nicely wraps around what's going to be our new secure space. So 10 by 42 right there. This is all part of a corridor. This is all part of a corridor. And this is all part of a corridor. That should be pretty good. That's a pretty decently sized building. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing this whole thing come together. I'm not too sure where the bathrooms are going to go, or the kennels. Actually, that's probably a good point. Kennels are a must-have, so we'll figure that out. Probably security rooms as well, now that I think about it. In fact, maybe that can all just go down at this end. Security, armory, kennels. That's probably a good idea. So I have come to realize that before I build this section down here, I am going to need to move a security room and an armory, as well as a morgue and infirmary. So I'm going to get this section up here built so that we can move the security room and the armory up to this top part, but also so we can move these 2 kennels into 1 kennel, because I really don't think we need 2 of them. And we might even be able to move some power generation in here. I don't think we're going to need 2 generators for this entire building. I think we can probably just get away with the 1. And also, thinking about it, if I do get this built, I can also move this staff room into this space. And then we just have to look at offices. And to be honest, offices should be relatively easy. We do have this space down here. And of course, we have this space on the back here. We have choices. That's what I'm getting at. We have some choices for where the various offices can go, and we do need some of them to be accessible by prisoners, so some of them might have to be on this side of the staff double doors. They're going to be right there. Okie dokie, so now that all of this space is done, let's go ahead and start moving some rooms around. I want to get myself an armory in this corner. I want to get myself a security room right about there. And I want to get myself a kennel right about here. I then want to go and get myself a power station, and I'm going to put it, I think, right in that corner. And I'm going to put myself a water pumping station up in that corner there. And I want to make sure that we actually have access to that room, which we don't have right now. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a nice double staff door right in the middle. That's going to be our utilities room. And then obviously these spaces here are what they are. So let's start fleshing them out a little bit. Let's get some things in here. Let's get some dog crates. I don't know what way around these things need to go, so we're just going to go that way with it. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. We currently have how many dog handlers? 20. Oh boy. Okay. I might need a few more of these things. So let's go, I guess, and do... Well, you know what? Let's cancel that. Let's do a bunch of them along there and a bunch of them along there with another one there as well. And we can go ahead and throw some dog bowls, I guess, right there in the middle, something a bit like that. And just sort of double them up a little bit. And that should be totally fine. And that will be our kennel. As for the security room, I don't know that we need CCTV monitors. We'll get one anyway, just to be safe. I don't know that we're going to need phone taps. We'll get one anyway, just to be safe. And a couple of door control systems should be fine. And that's really all we're going to need in there, aside from the office chair. We'll do 2 of those because we can. And we'll go ahead and get ourselves some nice, I guess, fancy desks. Will be pretty good in there as well. With a couple of fancy filing cabinets, just like that. So that should be good for security. And then for armory, it is a case of weapons racks, guard lockers, and tables. So we'll grab ourselves a table. We'll put it right there. We can then get ourselves a guard locker or 2. I think what we'll do, actually, is throw a couple of weapons racks along that wall. And then for the guard lockers, we'll go 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. And that should be good for all of those rooms. So that keeps us pretty well situated. Right there is what that does. So we'll run power through all of those. We'll run power up to all of those. And I guess underneath them as well. And, ooh, I forgot we had all these utilities. I'm gonna have to go in and get rid of all of those. In fact, let's just dismantle. Oh my god, do I have to go over the top of all of these? Oh, you are kidding me. Oh, that's soul crushing that I have to do it this way. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I never want to have to do that again. The process of just removing all of that was miserable. I've got to be honest with you. I really do. It was a miserable process. Please, 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 game, never make me do that again. Anyway, the good news is the power is up and running. The bad news is that a lot of my prisoners are having issues, which is not exactly ideal. And I think some of my guards might be targets as well, which I don't entirely love. But at the very least, we have 2/3 of this thing built. So let's go ahead and start bulldozing more stuff. I'm going to start by bulldozing essentially all of this. And I'm going to bulldoze all of this as well. And that means my staff should be moving into the new security room and the new armory, as well as the new kennels and all that good stuff. In fact, we can go ahead and bulldoze the kennels. We can probably, honestly, bulldoze these kennels as well. Not really going to save us too much, so let's go ahead and get all that done. And while that's going on, let's go ahead and throw some lights into the armory. We'll throw some lights into the security room. And I guess we'll throw some lights into this space as well, just to get it all nice and bright. And over here, we don't really need too many lights, but we'll do a couple anyway, just to get some in there and brighten the place up a little bit. And there we go. The first rooms of the new building are up and running. So let's go ahead and finish the entire building with some brick right about there. With some brick right about there, and some brick right about there. And if people would stop murdering each other, that'd be great. Oh, that's Murdered by prisoner. Well, that makes sense. I guess we'll just have to deal with that. And I guess what we'll also do is prioritize this so it gets done that little bit quicker. And I think while that's going on, oh, that was a bit too much of a zoom, we could probably go ahead and start working on visitation. So if I go to visitor booth, the way we wanted to do this is we want the prisoners on the left side here, and then on the right side. And we want to do the same thing over here and right about there as well. So that's going to be a much bigger visitation area, which is probably for the best. And then for the parole hearings, kind of a similar idea. We'll have the board behind the desk. We'll have the prisoner come in and everything's going to be fine there. And as for reception, I mean, if I remember right, reception needs desks and it needs tables. So let me go and get myself some tables. And what we'll do is just sort of dot them kind of up and down the middle there. We can get ourselves a couple of desks as well. So we'll go for some fancy desks because I'm feeling kind of fancy. And I think what we'll do with the desks is we'll just get a bunch of them. We'll make this place look a little bit, I don't know, a little bit weird, to be completely honest, if we do this kind of layout, but I'm kind of here for it, so it's what we'll do. Then we just need some chairs, and I think for the chairs, let's go for the swivel chairs, since those are kind of, I don't know, they match pretty well. They kind of have the vibe that I would want from this reception space. So we'll do all of that. That's going to be our reception. I guess we could probably get ourselves a couple more tables just because. So we'll go for there, there, and there. And we'll go for there, there, and there. And as for lights, I do like the wall lights. So let's see what we can do with those. One either side of the door. We'll go for a bunch of wall lights kind of facing in right there. A couple of wall lights down there. And a couple up there. And maybe around all of the corners too. I don't think that's going to be enough to brighten up the entire room. But it's going to look interesting, which is kind of what we're going for. And I suppose we can just get ourselves some normal lights and go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that should brighten the place up pretty well. We'll do a couple in the middle there as well. And that should be a pretty good reception. So I'm looking forward to all this coming together. I've got to be honest. I'm actually really, really looking forward to all of this coming together. I hope it ends up being as good as I can see it in my head. I doubt it. I will say that I do doubt it's going to be anything close to what's in my head, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be okay. It'll work, probably. Make that a staff room real quick. Ooh, that's all done. Okay. That actually, yeah, you know what? It actually does look pretty cool. I am actually really, really quite pleased with this. So let's get that to be a room. Let's get that to be a room. That right there. And all of this down here. And we can go ahead and throw some doors onto it. So a nice little staff door there, there, and there. And you know what? We'll put a staff door right down there as well, just so we have access to all of that space. And get it prioritized, get it cleaned up, get the walls built. And let's start furnishing all of this. We can get rid of the old reception. We can get rid of the old visitation. We can get rid of the old parole rooms. I'm actually really looking forward to this. And so just like that, we have a new working reception. We do, however, have to bring some power down into this thing to make sure that all of the lights do in fact get power. We're going to bring some power sort of down in here as well to make sure that all of the parole rooms get power. Bring some light down into, or some power, I guess, down into the staff room. Bring some power down into the staff kitchen and canteen. We'll do the same up here as well. And that should give us power for absolutely everything that we're going to need, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, we are still seeing some deaths around here, which I don't necessarily love. But to be fair, the prisoners themselves don't really love the fact that I keep, you know, putting them through shakedowns. So they're kind of just going to have to deal with that, because that's just going to be a thing that continues to happen. It's sort of, you know, it's kind of a prison thing. You know, it's one of those things that's going to kind of happen when you're in prison. So they're sort of going to have to deal with that. Now, let's go ahead and get ourselves a few parole rooms right here. And I realize the parole rooms don't actually need any filing cabinets, but I am thinking I might go ahead and do some filing cabinets anyway. Just because I can. Just because I kind of like that as a little detail for these spaces. I also kind of like the idea of having some lamps in here, so I'm also going to do that just to make the space a little bit more unique, I suppose. And then finally, we could probably go ahead and throw a light sort of directly above where the prisoner is going to be sitting, just to sort of put some pressure on them, make them really feel, well, the pressure. It's kind of the word. It's kind of the word I was going for there. It's, you know, put some pressure on them, make them feel the pressure of the situation. All right, that's what we're going for. So we'll hopefully have that going right there. We'll get all the lights installed, which I think looks pretty good, honestly. I think it's a pretty good looking space. The reception down here is doing pretty good. So now we'll just go ahead and throw some lights into visitation. Then we can set this up as a room, and in theory, this will pretty much be good to go, which I'm actually just really excited about. I'm really, really excited to see if visitation just works out the way I want it to. So let's get ourselves some doors. We're going to go for some regular doors down here to make it, you know, a little bit more pleasant. And then once those are installed, well, I think we're good to set it up. So let's bring ourselves a power cable down there, a power cable through here, and a power cable through there. That should give us power for all of that. We're also going to need some door servos in here, which I totally forgot about. So that's going to have to be a thing. And I've also completely forgotten about furnishing the canteen and the staff rooms as well. That's it. We're getting somewhere. We're getting there. Okay, so now that all of this is built, I think the last thing to do is going to be to make sure that the entire prison is secured, and then we have to go in and essentially bulldoze everything that's right here. Now that's kind of exciting. I'm kind of looking forward to doing this. So let's just get right to it. Let's get to it in sections at the very least, but all of this needs to go away. And to be quite honest, I'm just going to get rid of the offices as well. Well, actually, now that I think about it, maybe I shouldn't do that. What I will do is come into this space, and I'm going to get myself just a little something for some offices. So let's do some planning. And let's say we want a wall right here. We'll go 5. We'll go 1 there. We'll go 5. We'll go 1 there, and we'll go right there. And that's going to be an office. So that is a 7x7 space. That is a 7x7 space. And all of these are going to be 7x7 spaces as well. And all of these can be offices. So we'll go ahead and do 3 on this side that the prisoners can get access to. So we want to go 7 and 7. Same right here and same right here. And then on the other side, we go for another 3 as well. So just like that. And that seems decent. That seems like a decent sized little space. So if we go to foundations and we go to brick, we can probably build this quite quickly. So we'll go ahead and just lay out all of that. We'll go ahead and prioritize all of that as well, so that my workers can get it done as quickly as possible. And then in terms of planning, it's just going to be a case of throwing some doors on there. So we'll go 1 and 2 and 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. And just for the sake of being able to copy and paste these really easily, I'm not really going to bother with symmetry. I'm just going to have the door be at the top of each of the offices, and that should be fine. And then once the structure is built, it's just a case of putting the interior walls in, building a single office, and then copying and pasting the entire thing. So let's go ahead and do more demolition. Let's go ahead and bulldoze the parole space right here. And you know what? I'm going to bulldoze the morgue, because we just don't really need it, since we can probably just build it down here, which I think is entirely and exactly what I'm going to do. So if we go to objects and we go to slab, we want to get ourselves a few of these guys. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's my prison, so I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to get a few of these in here because you really can never be too sure how many of them you're going to need. It'd be nice if we didn't need that many of them, but I'm going to be safe is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be kind of safe on this one. I'm going to say we're probably going to want a few of those things. So we'll get them in there and that should be all right. As for the rest of this space, let's go and bulldoze the old reception. Let's bulldoze visitation, bulldoze all of that right there. And then I also need to get rid of some flooring and get rid of some objects as well. It seems like we still have some rooms around here, which I probably want to get rid of. You know, probably want to make sure that we don't have rooms just in the middle of nowhere. And just like that, we have working offices, which is fantastic news, meaning the old ones can finally be demolished. So let's go ahead and just bulldoze all the rest of this. Everything that's left from the old prison at this point is pretty much good to go. So much so that I've actually gone ahead and left a whole bunch of these gates, in fact, all of these gates, wide open. We don't really need them to be locked right now. The prison is secure enough that I think we can get away with doing this. And essentially what I want to do is just get rid of everything. All of the structure needs to go. All of the floors need to go. We are having some people escape, which, to be fair, I kind of figured would happen eventually. But that's fine. It's okay. We can secure this thing. It'll not take too long to do. So we'll just go ahead and bulldoze all of the walls, all of the floors. We've got 6 deaths and 1 escape. Things are going well. I mean, actually, to be fair, for this prison, that is a pretty good stat. We do, however, have a lot of prisoners that are misbehaving. We're seeing a lot of bad behavior on these cameras, which is interesting, to say the very least. Now, what I also want to go in here and do is dismantle all of these gates. So all of that needs to go away. All of this just needs to go away. There's just so much stuff laying around that we don't need anymore. We have lights everywhere and chairs and just everything. There's just a lot of stuff. But as soon as we get rid of all of that, what we can go ahead and do now is go to walls and decor, go to perimeter wall. We'll bring one out like this. And we'll go ahead and do the same at the other end as well. So this comes out to here. And if we go ahead and say that we want to demolish, or I guess dismantle or bulldoze this little excess bit of wall right here, we can go ahead and turn all the rest of this into our secure space. So if I go to perimeter wall and I say right here, this can run the entire length of that main building down to there. And I gotta say, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good distance. And then all we need to do is throw some gates sort of in between. And also, looking at this, the wall at the top comes out a little bit further than the wall at the bottom, which is kind of annoying. So we have to rebuild that entire section of wall, which I don't love. I don't love that I have to do that, but I'm willing to do it for the sake of symmetry and then take out the little bit in the middle there, which I realize we don't technically have access to any of that space. So we might actually want to go ahead and throw a double staff door right here, which apparently it's not going to let me do. Okay. Double staff door at the back of the morgue. Seems a little bit grim. Double staff door right there. And a double staff door, I guess, right there. It doesn't really matter where it goes, I suppose. We just need access to those spaces. So we'll go ahead and get all of that done. This is all being built / bulldozed. Yeah, we got these bits coming out. We got the other bits ready to go in. What do you want? A water pipe is burst. Okay, what do you want? Why am I getting all these events? What is this? Seriously, the amount of things this game threw at me in the length of time it has taken to build all of this. We had a power generator explode. We had a kitchen catch. I mean, the kitchen caught fire a couple of times. So much stuff. It's ridiculous. Just everything that could go wrong went wrong. Every single time. It's incredibly frustrating. I know it's part of the challenge. I'm complaining for the sake of complaining. It's in my blood. It's what I do. But yeah, I'm sitting here trying to build a prison, and the prison seems to be more intent on catching fire and exploding. Both literally and in the metaphorical sense. You know, the prisoners lose their cool for 5 minutes and the entire place starts figuratively burning down. Happens all the time. Happens more regularly than I care to admit, to be quite frank. Anyway, let's see what we can do in terms of these doors. We're looking for road gates. Now, the road gates, I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put one there. And I guess what we do is we go ahead and we throw a perimeter wall right here and right there. And then we go ahead and do the same thing right down here at the bottom as well. And that should be all we need. We're not really going to need a massive number of gates. That gives us a secure space. So what we can do is go to flooring, and we can go to concrete tiles, and we're going to have just this big path coming right up towards the prison. We'll do some gravel on either side of that path in the same way that we've done on the inside as well. And then we can have, you know, deliveries up here. We can have exports. We can have garbage and all that stuff. And this is just going to be a big open space, essentially. And that's okay by me. I like the idea of it being just a big open space, because that's kind of all it's really supposed to be. You know, a really clear yard where you can see everyone coming and going. We'll probably put some trees in here at some point, but for now, we'll just keep it relatively simple. So let's go to rooms. Let me pause and get rid of deliveries, exports, and garbage. And we'll go in here and go to deliveries. And we'll say that deliveries can be right about here. And we're just going to do a 12 by 12 space. We can do, I guess, exports just across the way. We'll do 12 by 12 for that. And then we'll do garbage sort of right down here at the bottom. And we'll go for 12 by 12 for that. So nothing too crazy. We'll get, you know, some paths around it. We'll have those spaces. Prisoners come in, they go along the path, they go into reception, through the corridor, and into the prison. So essentially, this is all a very long-winded way of getting to a place where we can essentially bring in another 200 prisoners. It's a lot of prisoners, but I'm going to be honest, I'm really quite looking forward to bringing them all in. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So we'll get some servos around here while we wait. We'll go ahead and say a servo there and a servo there. We can say a servo here and a servo there as well. We can probably say, give me a door servo right there and a door servo right there. In fact, let me cancel that one and put it on this side. And I think that's about all the door servos that we're going to need for this space. I think everything else is just a normal door. So we'll get those all installed, we'll get them connected, we'll have this place automated, and then hopefully we'll have actual visitation and parole and all that good stuff. There's a lot of stuff we'll have to reschedule, and I think that's probably part of the reason the prisoners aren't happy, is the simple fact that a lot of stuff hasn't been scheduled. But we'll get there, and we are getting there. In fact, you know what? Let's not put it off any longer. Let's go into, I guess, programs, reschedule all programs. Kitchen safety and hygiene, we're going to stop that program. Behavioral therapy is in a psychologist office. Requires a leather sofa, white sofa, or sofa brown, no equipment. Interesting. Interesting that there's no equipment for that. I guess we'll leave it for now. Pharmacological treatment of drug addiction is a doctor in an infirmary. So we'll go ahead and stop all of those as well. Alcoholics group therapy is psychologist in a common room. We'll go ahead and stop that for now. And then parole hearings we can stop for now. Farm work safety we can stop for now. Tattoo removal we can stop for now. Gang rehab can be stopped. Faith programs can be stopped. Breathing therapy can be stopped. And fight clubs can be stopped. Okay. So, kitchen safety I'm not interested in right now. Parole hearings I am very much interested in. So parole hearings can run from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. That seems silly. I do want to see if I can have 6 of these though at any one time. So if I go and edit that schedule, we have a bunch of parole hearings here. I would rather those took place down at this spot here. So essentially we have 6 parole hearings every day. That seems pretty good to me. So that's going to keep us good on that spot. Visitation, I am not super worried about. I guess we probably do want to look into breathe therapy. No, that's a yard. What was the one that needed behavioral therapy psychologist office? So if we start that, we don't have the equipment. So leather sofa, wide sofa, or sofa brown. We do. Oh, we don't have psychologists' offices. Interesting. Or we do, but the psychologist doesn't have a sofa. Can I move you to a different office? Could I move the psychologist down to here, for example, or can I get another one? I think I can get another one. If I go to rooms and I say I want an office, and I say I want these 2 offices here, if I go and hire a psychologist, and another one, and another one, and another one, we probably don't need 6 of them, but whatever. We'll leave it be for now. I want a wide sofa here and here. And then in theory, we can have 2 sessions of behavioral therapy because we'll have these 2 psychologists who are set up to do that, right? So as soon as that is set up, as soon as those sofas are in there, and there's one of them going in already, behavioral therapy should be possible. There should be another sofa on the way as well, I would imagine, but if we go and have a look, it's currently unscheduled. And based on how long it takes, we can probably have multiple sessions of this throughout a day. Which, again, is kind of the idea, right? We have this super prison, this giant prison, which has the capacity of near 300, but also the capacity to do all of these different programs, all these different times during the day. So hopefully that works out. And would you look at that? We have a bunch of parole hearings going on, which is kind of fantastic. We should also, and we do, have prisoners coming down here. And then they are heading back through the corridor, back to the prison. So we have things happening down here. We have all of this space slowly coming together. We should have some guards up this way working all of these gates, but apparently they don't want to do that, which is slightly frustrating, but I guess that is just how things are going to be. There we go. So we have that all coming in. I'm actually really pleased with this. I've got to be honest. I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. So let's go ahead and get rid of these trees as sort of a final little detail in this space. And then, and I might regret this, I really might regret this, we have prisoners coming in 22 hours. Let me go and change my intake so that they are going to be coming in. What's the soonest I can have prisoners coming in here? 11, so that's 17. Can I bring this back so they're coming in 12 hours, 5 in the morning? That seems like a disastrous idea. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this number up a little bit. We're gonna bring this number to 200 is what we're gonna bring it to. We're gonna go to 200 prisoners. So we are going to have 100 prisoners arriving here at 5 in the morning. And now I'll be honest with you. I was very tempted, very tempted to split the prison into medium security and maximum security. I was going to sort of mix and match a little bit and see what happened. But I think with how chaotic this prison has wound up being at the best of times, I think it's fair to say that bringing 100 more prisoners in here at any point is going to be a disaster, a nightmare. It's going to be any combination of words that you can think of, really. I don't have a lot of faith that this isn't just going to fall apart, because we have prisoners who are regularly just getting murdered in the hallways, either by guards or by each other. It's not even like it's not even, we don't have these brawls in the morning anymore. We just have prisoners losing their cool pretty regularly. You know, their cells are messes. Good Lord. Some of the cells don't even work. You know what I think we need? I think we might need more janitors. Let's go up to like 30 janitors and see what happens. See if that helps clean the place up a little bit. I'm also thinking we probably want to go ahead and remove this tunnel, because there's actually a tunnel connecting 2 cells right there, which is a little bit annoying. Doesn't look like we have any down here though, which is fine. So for the most part, aside from the fact that we are still getting prisoners killing each other pretty regularly, for the most part, the prison's doing okay. So let's bring these 100 guys in here. So the first bus is here. Interestingly, it's not stopping. None of them are. Wait, are they? No, they are stopping. Okay, the prisoners are very quickly getting thrown off the buses. That's fine, actually. I was slightly worried that they just weren't at all. This is terrifying, though. I'll be quite honest. This is a terrifying sight. We have a lot of buses still to come through. We have a lot of prisoners just sitting in here chilling. We've got all of these prisoners being escorted into the prison. So yeah, needless to say, I'm a little intimidated right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit intimidated right now. I'm not too sure that this is an amazing idea, to be quite frank with you. I think I might have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew, but I'm gonna have some fun with it, and we'll see what ends up happening. What I will do is I'm gonna get myself some metal detectors here and here, because I think that's probably a good idea. And to be quite honest, I'm just gonna do a massive strip of metal detectors down that front entrance as well. And I'm very tempted to sort of do them in here as well. I don't know if prisoners can get around them in those spaces, but I'm going to do some metal detectors sort of by the doors there and see how that goes. And hopefully it goes well. I mean, it's work and free time right now, so my hope is that we see some prisoners come down here to work, right? If we go into logistics and we go to prison labor, we can, and we have actually filled this place up. This place is full. In fact, this place isn't full at all. So we will go ahead and fill the laundry. We can go ahead and fill up this one as well to get people working in there. And then we can, that one's full. That one can't have people working in it. This one's full as well. So there are prisoners working in a lot of the spaces. I'd like them to be working in a few more. I definitely think a few more prisoners in the cleaning cupboards might not be a bad idea. But we'll see how that goes, I suppose. And I think what we'll do is just go ahead and bring the prison up to capacity. We'll just go ahead and bring it up to 296. That's not the number I was looking for. We want to bring this to 296. That is our current capacity. So we'll have 43 prisoners arriving in 12 hours. Good. I'm not remotely terrified about any of this. Not me. No, sir. Not one bit. This couldn't possibly go terribly wrong. I'm just going to get myself another, 25 guards, because I get the feeling I'm going to need them. And it's that time again. We've got 43 prisoners coming in here, I think, with a bunch of dead ones being taken out to hearses. The dead ones, by the way, still moving. Not really sure what's going on there, but yeah, the dead prisoners are still sort of bouncing around a little bit. And there's already, wow. How are there so, what? Oh my god. I don't. So murdered by prisoner. We got a fight going on over here. I'll tell you what's going on. I'll tell you what fixed this the last time this started happening. Basically, what I think I need to do is I need to get some patrols, and we do have some patrols, but I'm gonna go ahead and for these morning patrols, I'm just gonna put, you know, 8 guards in those spaces. So that immediately we have a bunch of guards in there. But I also want to go to general deployment, and I'm just gonna say 2 armed guards in that entire space. And I'm going to say, give me like 2 extra guards. So we'll have 10 normal guards. I'm going to put a couple of guards in there, 1 in there, and in there, 1 in there, 1 in there, and in the common rooms as well. So that'll give us a lot of guards in those spaces. I do, of course, need to go and do the same thing down here to make sure that we, you know, manage. So we want to go something like this. Oh, that didn't really work out. There we go. So that's 8. And we'll do another 3 right there. And then I don't exactly remember what the deployment was, but I think it was, you know, what was it? 2 guards or something like that. So we had 2 floating and then 2 armed, 2 in there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and then 2 in the common rooms as well, with 2 armed guards in those spaces. That should help things chill out a little bit. What do you want? I don't care. That should help things chill out a little bit. We have lost a few of you guys, but having more guards in those spaces, in theory, is going to make the prisoners think twice about rioting and doing what they do. This is what fixed this problem the last time it happened, so we'll see if it fixes it this time. I'm not entirely convinced it will, because we have way more prisoners now, but we'll see. We'll see what comes about. We'll see if maybe just having all these guards in here will, in fact, help. I do think during free time, we can probably go and say something like that for the cell blocks, just to make sure that there is a massive guard presence in the cell blocks. I think that'll help us out a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. During eating, we'll go ahead and sort of do the same thing. Just a huge guard presence in the canteens to make sure that, you know, everybody is behaving, and just to make sure that if anything does go wrong, we have enough guards to sort of deal with that. And I'm also realizing that because I got rid of the classroom, we no longer do guard taser certifications. So let's very quickly see if we can't fix that. So if I go to objects and I go to classroom, these school desks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Take that one out. We'll do this, and we'll do a blackboard right about there. I don't really know what else a classroom needs. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but we'll figure that out. We'll sort of wing it a little bit. So a classroom right down here. We'll go classroom, grab you. And it's going to need a desk, essentially. So a nice, fancy desk such as this one. We'll go ahead and just put it right about there. And we'll do one right about there as well. And that seems pretty good. That seems like a decent little setup. So we'll do some lights just dotted around the place. A couple of lights sort of in the middle, like that, I think. Or more like that, I guess. And then I need those desks again. Where are they? School desk right there. So there we go. That'll be a decent little classroom, is what that'll be. And I guess in terms of a carpet, we'll go for a nice sort of blue. So we'll get that going. We'll start training up the guards with tasers again, and body armor, and all that good stuff. And hopefully we're going to have fewer riots in the mornings. This is definitely going to be a learning curve. It's definitely going to take a minute to get to where we want to be with this. I also realized I put a door down here so that my guards could access. Oh god, have they not built that? They haven't built that wall. Why have they not built that wall? Hello? There's supposed to be a perimeter wall along here. That seems like a pretty big security breach. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Well, actually, no, there's perimeter walls around the entire, regardless, that's not, there is 100% supposed to be a perimeter wall down there. So if they wouldn't mind just building that That'd be great. And then while they're doing that and everyone's dying, let me go and have a real quick look at, let's see here, staff programs. I would like to stop you and reschedule all of you, and then edit the staff schedule a little bit. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello. Where? Riot? Hello? Where are they rioting? In here? Not really much of a riot, I've got to be honest with you. Not really, yeah. Really wasn't. Aside from the 22 deaths, it's really not much of a riot. I've got to be honest. I'm from Northern Ireland. If there's one thing I know, it's how to riot, okay? This is nothing. This is nothing compared to what I've seen. You know, despite the 26 deaths today, and possibly more, we did manage to feed about 77% of our inmates. We have them all heading back to their cells for showers. We have all of the guards heading to the various areas to try and help them chill a little bit. We just had a power generator. Oh dear. Oh, now that makes sense. So here's what I'm curious about. The power generators, well, this one specifically is having a lot of trouble because, well, I've just connected to a whole bunch of metal detectors. So I think what I'm going to do is dismantle that utility right there and prioritize that. And then I'm going to connect these guys together so that this canteen is powered by the other generator. So I should be able to switch you back on. I absolutely can. And then when these get built, I think we can just power this canteen with this generator, since this one's not really super overloaded right now. And that'll hopefully help us out a little bit. I'm hoping that'll get us into a good spot where we actually have got reasonable security, I guess. You know, maybe we can start finding things. Also, thinking about it, we do have a bunch of guards over here working on the disarming certification, which is lovely. Why do we have a death already? How? Who and why? Killed by guard with baton. I wish my guards would stop killing people. The guy was in his cell at 2 in the morning and for some reason was killed by a guard with a baton. Also, we have 54 prisoners arriving in like 30 minutes. This is just going well. Everything's going so well. I have nothing but faith that when we have 296 inmates, it'll be peaceful. I'm sure it'll be peaceful, right? There'll be just so many inmates that they'll be like, you know what? I have so many choices for friends. I don't really feel like rioting. I'm sure that's what'll happen.